Revival League Season 2 Close Qualifiers Round 3. My name is Retro, and I'm joined here by my dear friend and co-caster, Mr. Summon the Nerds. Summon, are you excited for this game?
And forever, these teams are both undefeated in the current qualifiers, and it's going to be exciting to see the outcome. I know it's exciting a lot, but two undefeated teams isn't something that we come across often, so it's going to be a good one.
It's definitely going to be a good one, and I'm very excited to see who gets their loss first, because of course there is no ties here, so there's no way for somebody to come out of this unscathed. One of the teams will get their first loss, and one of the teams will continue on to be undefeated. So far, that had been 5 stars. 5 stars were undefeated throughout all of open qualifiers and through close qualifiers until they took their first loss yesterday. So they're going to be joined by someone else here, also taking their first loss as an undefeated team so far.
And we're on our clubhouse today, which isn't a map we've actually seen very much. 9 times so far this season, not including current in the closed qualifier. So just in the open qualifier, we've only seen it 9 times. However, last season, it was our second most seen map. We saw it as 29 times. With a defense rate, win rate of 56.6%.
Wow, you gotta love it. You gotta love it when a map is that defender sided. It really goes to show something about how strong some of the strats are, and I think that's definitely something that we see quite often here on Clubhouse, especially with the Church Arsenal site that Rebuild are deciding to go to first. It is one of the tougher sites for the attackers to attack and penetrate into, and it's going to be even harder now that the Ossa has been taken off the board, as well as the Maverick. Maverick is really good at taking care of those hatches from above, especially when there's a Kaid on the board. So without him, it's going to be just a little bit more difficult to try and get into sight and go for that execute.
Going off the current statistics that we have from the open qualifier in last season, a Maverick ban is actually pretty uncommon. We don't see him banned at all in the top 3 or top 5. However, we see Osa a 19.5% operator ban rate, Azami at the 46.3%, and Mira with a 53.7% ban rate, which is more than half the time. All of those are very common bans, and they all make a lot of sense. But see Maverick banned on this map, it does make sense. As you said, he's very good at opening up hatches, but he's also got very good fragging capability, and he can move quickly and fairly quietly. So it's good to see that teams are banning as they need.
Yeah, definitely good to see that they're being conscious. And another example of that consciousness is right here. Maiko playing inside of Garage, picking up 2, or actually he picks up 1, nearly picks up the second, but it's Hudson on the other end of the map to pick up the second kill of the game, and that's both of the hard breaches off the board now for Guardians. Basically, at this point, Hudson and Maiko, even if they both pull back from where they are, or even if they die, they've done their job quite a bit because they took care of those hard breaches, which means that Guardians will not be breaching any of those hatches or any reinforced walls that may be. That could include the dirt tunnel, which can sometimes be a pretty common spot for teams to push in through. So without both of their hard breachers, none of that is going to be happening, and Guardians have quite a bit of work to do here to readapt to the current situation that they've put themselves in, now having lost 2 players right off the bat.
Wow, what a play there from Mako. I mean, on those rafters. And Hodgson, they really teamed up there, and they managed to pick off 2 pretty big operators, as you said. I mean, that's 2 of their hard breachers gone, and with Maverick off the board, those guys are some of the best people for walls and hatches. So to lose those, that gives them a severe disadvantage, and it allows for Rebuild to force GDRX into the choke points that they want them in.
Yeah, it definitely forces them to push into their crosshairs and straight into any utility that they might have in place for them. Like, for example, those Vulcan canisters, pushing into any doorway that might be covered by them is going to be a bit of trouble. They could maybe get lucky with some kills here from the verticals, but it's going to be even harder now as Charlie J with that TCSG takes down Panda, and now it's an ever so worse situation for Genesis and Breathtaking to try and salvage something of this round with 30 seconds to go. Only 2 of them alive against all 5 of the remaining defenders. C4 has been pre-ripped by Charlie J, and he's just waiting for the sound cue to rip it fully and to get that kill. It will not catch anybody as it gets blown open. Gem is taking a little bit of damage as well from some pot shots. 2 players here trying to challenge onto the bottom of the main stairs. It's Maiko from deep inside of Arsenal, and it's Hudson with the follow-up onto Gemis. That's the entire round now gone. All of the attackers are gone, and I do believe that was only the 2 players that managed to get any kills. I think it was Maiko and Hudson that got all of the kills, but I'm not entirely... Oh, it was a Charlie... Oh, yeah, I forgot about Charlie J. Yeah, Charlie J got one. But that was a really, really well done round there from Rebuild. I don't necessarily think that Guardians lose that in 100% of cases. I think it really came down to losing both of their hard breaches right away. I think if they still had their hard breachers, or at least one of their hard breachers, I think that's a massively different round, just from what we've seen of Guardians. I don't think that they're a bad team by any means that just lose rounds willy-nilly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they just lucked out there, really. I mean, losing both their 2 players at the start. I mean, yes, well played by Rebuild to get those 2 players, and that was a very important play for them. But it being those 2 players is really bad luck for Guardians there. I mean, it forced them to try and push in a way that they weren't going to be able to be comfortable with. And as we said, we always see a flawless round. I did not expect it in the first round of this game. I mean, that was really quite an outstanding defensive play. Even when they were trying to take control of the vertical, it ended up being used against them, as we saw Hodgson picking up the final kill there through the vertical holes made by the sledge. Really well played, really impressive round. I think it's important to note here, actually, that Rebuild just scraped into this qualifier. I mean, they came 12th with a -7 round difference, 2 wins, 3 losses, and a 9 tiebreaker coming into this. And then looking at the close qualifiers, Guardians were invited by our organisation to come in and enjoy the event, as they are a high-tier team and fairly recognised among the esports scene. So it's very impressive that Rebuild have come this far to be challenging Guardians, as they're currently sat in 3rd and Guardians in 1st.
Definitely, it's something that people really didn't expect, and it has been quite a shock to a lot of people to see Rebuild coming up against them in the first place. So if they manage to pull a round win here, or not a round win, but a game win here after Guardians so far have been undefeated, that will be definitely very, very, very impressive, and for them to be the ones to gift Guardians their first loss so far. Will be definitely quite a shocker and breaking news all throughout the league. But with 90 seconds already gone, that wall is open, as it was a bit of teamwork coming up from the Twitch and the Ace, as well as the Kali to boot. Kali is not an operator that you see all that often. She's definitely one of those operators that gets brought sometimes and is very, very situational. Typically isn't very favored, just because that sniper is so tough to actually pull anything off with. It does a lot of damage, and it is basically a one-shot down for a lot of operators, but it's still so difficult to really pull off anything with it. So I'm really impressed with the fact that Guardians are feeling comfortable enough to bring that operator and to actually utilize it to get rid of that electricity, and to force the Cade to use his utility elsewhere, to even lose the utility right away. But as I'm talking, Panda goes with the kill onto Maiko. That is the first kill so far of this round, and Guardians have made their way basically into sight, and they are going for the plant inside of Jim, tucked into the corner. I don't think that a Rebuild are even aware of it. The C4s are blowing up, and there goes the plant going down. Chaos finds one onto glass. Charlie J trying to do a little bit of damage through those walls. It won't find anything. Panda will, however, find one onto Hudson. Charlie J still trying to challenge onto these angles onto Jim. He's got Nelson only to boot. K is taking a little bit of damage from Nelson from inside of gold, but he will get taken down by Breathtaking now. It's all down to Charlie J with about half HP to his name. getting challenged from multiple angles, and it's Gemis
Wow.
from the window to pick up the final kill, and it's back-to-back flawlesses. What is this game? We're in for a good one. We're in for a good one, that's for sure.
2 flawless round. One flawless round is what we see every game. So to see 2 in a game is impressive, and to see 2 back to back, that's crazy. Some might say, really impressive. I mean, good attack there from Guardians. They managed to pick up. They were in a situation where they could win in those last few minutes, and they had control of the site. The defense weren't sure how to counter it. They were able to pick up kills in 1v1 gunfights with the likes of Panda and. With the likes of Panda, who is one of the top fraggers on the side of GDRX, and someone we need to watch. Really, really impressive. Really, really good skill set, and an excellent round to watch. I mean, just have them down there in the last 40 seconds and then start picking up kills, quickly execute plant, and put it in a plant retake situation with a 1 versus 5. Really good skill. Shows a really good knowledge of the map and knowledge of the game. And it's something I hope we see a hell of a lot more of.
Oh, 100% agree. 100% agree. And I have to really give it to Guardians even more so is how great of a read that was. To drone out the site, realize, hey, no one's here. Let's just go in, tuck yourself into that corner, and just get that plant down, have the cover that you needed, and then win the round off the back of that. That is really, really well done. And something that is sort of a fresh sight in the league. Just because I feel like a lot of teams get a little bit overzealous sometimes, and a lot of the times also teams counter each other so perfectly that it's hard to get that good of a read, because if you've read them, chances are you've also been read as well. So really, really well done there from Guardians, and I just want to see if Rebuild are gonna let them do that again, although I highly doubt it. They're probably going to be a little bit more wary of it. And those meat jammers, I think, will probably be placed in a little bit more expert positions to deny those drones and to deny as much information as possible from the side of Guardians.
A bomb has been located.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're going to be really prepared now. They've seen the lineup they brought last time, so maybe they're going to try and counter it. I mean, the lineup's looking pretty similar. In fact, I think the only difference we saw was Panda was on Habana instead. She switched now. Panda even has switched over to the Thermite, which is similar operator with a different boom.
Definitely. So similar operator, different boom. I like that. I like how you said that. But unfortunately for Rebuild, those Cade Claws got taken care of by the Twitch again. Nelson was trying to pick up the Cade Claw from the wall, but just wasn't able to. It was a little bit too high up for the Cade to actually be able to pick it up. So that wall will probably get opened up here in due time. But as I say that, Panda does get this other wall opened up, and Charlie J is getting very, very aggressive here, right up onto the wall with the shotgun. Will be challenging onto Breathtake, or Breathtake might be challenging onto him. It could go either way, and either way, it's going to be a bloodbath, and it's going to be quite an explosive round for either of these players, as Charlie J getting the kill onto Breathtake will... Oh, and he can't get it, despite Breathtake being down, trying to go for the Claymore onto that breach in the swing with the shotgun. It is Breathtake that gets that kill, and as I was saying, that was going to be quite a big kill there, because if Charlie J manages to pick up the kill, that denies the pressure from that side of the map. But Breathtake getting that kill means that they have even more pressure now coming from that side of the map, as they don't have to worry about it. And as Damian pushes in, gets the kill into Glass, Chaos is going for the plant again in the same position as before. Nelson, with just a little wallbang, could be getting the kill here, but he doesn't know. And it's Hudson trying to push up onto the breach. He does get one. Can he get a couple more? Hudson and Nelson make that just Nelson, as Hudson goes down to Chaos. It's the Carly with the SMG-11, or her SMG, apologies. Breathtake will go down to a Frostmat, I do believe, and there goes Nelson picking up another one. It's effectively 2 versus 1. Does he know about that? But James is all the way up on the roof, and he's still got Damian inside of the shower cubicle. Oh, and he can't quite get that kill as Damian cleans up, and Guardians win another round, put themselves in the driver's seat as they take the lead for the first time in this game. And it's another not quite flawless round, but they played it flawlessly again from the side of Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, Damien was close there. I think he was pulling it quite thin on the wire. But nonetheless, he won that game and that round completely fairly. Really impressive from the side of Guardians. Not as strong or assertive as we've seen them in earlier matches or in earlier rounds, but still a very good and impressive and assertive round from them. Winning it out with, I believe, with manpower. It was 2 versus 1 as one player was downed, but still, you can't take away from them. It was impressive either way. And I'm glad we were able to see it, and I'm hoping to see a hell of a lot more.
Definitely, but I worry now for Rebuild as they won the first round and they lost the 2 consecutive rounds after that, and I worry about how this round is going to go, because of course they won this and it was a flawless round and it was absolutely perfect, but they won that on the back of Hudson and Michael getting 2 very early kills onto 2 very important operators, taking care of those hard breaches, basically won them around within like the first minute or so of the game, or of the round. So if they aren't able to do that again, or God forbid if they get punished for it this time, I worry how that's going to look. And we see Hudson getting quite aggressive here on the secret window. He could be going for a jump out, and that could immediately be a demise for him. I do believe there's a player as well staring at him from the spawn, up on the what, I don't even know what they are, like the little rafters outside. And Maiko on the inside rafters is holding the same position that he held before, where he did get 1 kill, nearly got 2 as they were trying to push into the garage. And that's a very important position for him to hold. But again, it all relies on him actually staying alive in that position and potentially even getting kills, because if he doesn't, I truly do worry about how the round will turn out for Rebuild. Minute gone. Still no one dead, but they are challenging onto Maiko here. And he will swing and he will get it again. And that's the ace off the board again. Breathtaking pushes into CCTV, will get shot down by Hudson. Maiko will pick up another one at the Chaos, and there we go. There's another very explosive round from Maiko and Hudson, proving that they are the ultimate roamers and shutting down Guardians again on this basement defense.
Yeah, wow, really impressive. I mean, Guardians are now shut down. As you said, it's a 2 versus 4, 2 versus 5 even. Really quite a difficult situation to win. Yeah, they've got to pick up a lot of kills here, and they've got to get the plant, but neither of them actually have the diffuser in hand, so I presume that is actually under the watch of Rebuild, and therefore it's going to be even harder for them to take it back. Oh no, it is just outside. And they could possibly pick it up, but I wonder if they're just going to go for the frags instead, as they know the difficulty that this round's going to be.
Yeah, it's all the way far outside of reach, so by the time that they get to it, they will have already wasted quite a lot of time. So at this point, it's, a do or die type of situation, and, you just have to go for it. They will be picking up the diffuser, and they will be trying to salvage something up this round, but it's still so much work ahead of them, and even if they pick up a couple kills here, they've only got 30 seconds to go, and it's 2 of them taking a little bit of damage as well, trying to challenge against the 5, and those angles are quite hard to contest, and Charlie J proves that they are impossible to contest, and it's Glass from the prone position inside of blue to take out the final one. It's another flawless round. Rebuild equalized the scoreline at 2 rounds apiece, and now it's really the moment of truth about where Rebuild are going to go and how that's going to look for them, as they've won 2 and lost 2.
I mean, another flawless round. That's 3 we've seen now. Really impressive stuff. I mean, really exciting stuff nonetheless. I really hope we see more of it, and I really hope that we keep up this momentum and this pace as we go into it, because it really is a tug of war here. I mean, we've seen 3 flawless rounds within the first 4 rounds played. We've seen 1 round which was pretty close to the wire, which is a good round to see, but the rest of them have been blowouts on one side or the other. And I mean, if we're looking at it from that statistic, Rebuild do look like the stronger side. 2 flawless rounds in their 2 victories, whereas Guardians had 1 flawless round and 1 really close round. So that highlights the power of Rebuild's defense, as well as the strength of Guardians' attacks.
It definitely does, but again, as I said in the previous round, is that I worry for Rebuild that might be the only site that they can win in that fashion. Obviously, we haven't seen too many other defenses yet. We've only seen their Jin defense, which one time they get flawless on, and then they sort of read into it again, and they brought it close, as you said. And now they're going to a completely different site, which we don't see very often to begin with. I said yesterday in the Oblivion 5 stars games that usually you see this map get brought when it's, close and you want to bring something that will surprise your enemies. So I don't find it all that shocking that Rebuild are choosing to go for this. But again, it's one of those, I don't have the exact statistics, but definitely from seeing it get played, it feels like a very 50-50 site, to the point where it's one of those that you either win by a landslide or you lose by a landslide. Very rarely is this a close site to hold. So hopefully Rebuild are able to pull up something here, as they are getting challenged already here on the top floor roam.
Yeah, really well played. I think we're definitely going to see a strong round here. I hope that isn't Rebuild's strongest site. I hope that we're going to see them apply it into other sites, and I hope we're going to see a better defense from them across the board. But as you said, it could be their strongest site, and that could be their downfall, as they are trying to win it all, but they can only take one site on defense. Especially with this kind of site. I mean, as soon as Guardians get on defense, I'm sure there's not going to be very many prisoners coming in.
Yeah.
It's very defender-sided. I mean, we're seeing a very good split here for Guardians already. I mean, even if they lose...
even if they
go into the defense. Rest of rounds, even not games.
Yeah, definitely. But they've only got a minute left. They have done quite a bit of vertical damage here, but still not enough. And they still have a player playing inside of Kitchen, denying quite a bit of that as well. Still, that is the Maestro and has Hudson trying to deny the pressure coming up from there. The pressure is coming in from the stock room, but Maiko will be killing Panda. That's the thermite off the board now, so any more hard breaching from him will not be achieved. And there goes Maiko with another one onto Chaos. There was a brief run out that got stopped, or I don't really know where that was, but there was a brief run out. It might have been the kitchen door. No, I don't know. It was a brief run out somewhere that maybe distracted Guardians a little bit. Or maybe they were aware of exactly where it was, but now they have to really put the pressure on, as they've only got 10 seconds left to go, and they're having to push up against Echo as well, and Maiko picking up two more, put himself on a quad. He's only got one left to try and get the ace. He will not get the chance, as it's the Echo stun to prevent any more movement coming in. Rebuild, win another round, prove that the basement site isn't their only site, and put themselves in the driver's seat again as they put themselves back in the lead.
Yeah, now we've seen a really good defense from another site. I mean, that just highlights the skill that we're going to be seeing from Rebuild for the rest of this season and the rest of this game. Winning two sites now, two very different sites, with pretty high confidence. That's really good news for them. That's going to keep them high in hopes, and that's going to further their lead going into the rest of this defense. I mean, after this round, they are going to swap, so the best we're going to see is either a 4-2 split or a 3-3 split. Either way, it puts one team at an advantage, in my personal opinion, looking at how defender-sided this map can be.
Yeah, it definitely does put teams into an advantage, and that's why when you are starting on defense, you are looking for a 4-2 or better split, just because that gives you a little bit more breathing room. Obviously, being, on even split with a 3-3 is not the worst thing, but it does mean that you have to work a lot more and a lot harder to get those wins, because, of course, if you're on a 4-2 split, that gives you the breathing room to lose their primary pick, which gives you a little bit more freedom. It's like, okay, we lost their primary set pick. That's the one that, there's no chance for us to win, because it's just the one that they scrim the most, it's the one that they win the most, it's whatever. But if you are on an even split, or if you are behind a round, then that means that you have to win rounds, even on their primary set pick, because you can't really afford letting them go onto match point quickly on, as then you're in an even worse position.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, letting them go into match point sort of almost immediately is going to be really damaging for you, and that's not something you're going to want at all. They're going to hope that they can keep where they are. I mean, Guardians are going to be hoping that they can take this next round and put it onto a 3-3 split and then win the rest of their rounds. Interesting strat here by Autoglass, I must be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
It, though. I believe he's going to try and use the impact to trick it. Wonder if it's going to detonate the Vulcan canister, though, when it does.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically threading the needle. If there's ever a threading the needle situation in Siege, that is one of them. This is another one of them, definitely. To try and get a kill through those bars and through the window is definitely going to be quite difficult. And here we go. We're going to see the Ace and the impact grenade in play here at the moment as the wall gets opened up on the other side. And here we go. The other exothermic charge will get deployed. Here comes the impact grenade, and it will hit! It will hit, and it will not hit the Vulcan canister. The second impact will go. That one will detonate the Vulcan canister. He missed it by just a little bit, and he missed the Selmas as well. But of course, the Selmas getting deployed is a lot less of an issue for the defense than the Thermite exothermic charge would have been, just because the Thermite exothermic charge obviously is a way larger breach that allows you to just run through it and get straight in, whereas the Selmas, the Selma forces you to either vault into it or to crouch in through it, which both of those put you in a bit of a disadvantageous position. But here we go, as the first player goes down on the side of Rebuild. They do trade it out. Chaos coming in, taking another one, and the plant is going down again inside of Jim. There goes a C4 rip from Nelson. It will catch Chaos, and now there's only 15 seconds left to go. Panda does find Hudson, but these Vulcan canisters are deploying. Can't really go back into sight. Charlie J sees him, picks up the kill into Panda. Jemis can't do anything, and it's all down to Damien in a 1 versus 2. Picks up 1 versus 1. He doesn't have diffuser, and all Charlie J has to do is wait it out. He does just that, and Rebuild take the round. Put themselves at a quite big lead here as we see the side switch. And wow, that was beautifully played from Rebuild. They told Guardians, no more will you win that site against us.
Yeah, Rebuild going in with a 4-2 split, that's really impressive. I'm very impressed by them. I can't wait to see more, and I think that that's just such a good round. I mean, wow. Threading the needle with that impact nade. Not quite so good at it the second time, but the first time you got it, first time's a charm, as some people like to say. Got it through, took out the thermite charge. Yes, Ace is still very effective at getting walls open. He's the quickest operator at doing so, but he doesn't have as big of a boom, which limits your eye line, and it gives defenders somewhere they can target their aiming.
Yeah, I mean, exactly as I said, they put you at quite a disadvantageous position. They are good sometimes on some maps and some sites. They are good and even better than the exothermic, but of course, you know, can't really beat the classic. He was the OG hard breacher, and he's still so good at what he does, and that's I mean, we see him banned sometimes. I do believe he was banned yesterday here on this map, where exactly that reason is that he is just so strong, and getting him either off the board entirely, as we saw Rebuild do before, or being able to counter him perfectly by using those impact grenades, which beautifully threaded through that drone hole by Autoglass. It definitely denies quite a lot of maneuverability for Guardians, but now they are in defense, and they have a lot of that maneuverability gained back as they are going onto the basement defense, which is very, very strong. And Panda, with the Tachanka LMG, takes out Nelson immediately. Nades are coming flying in, but still not getting rid of that shield just yet.
Wow, really impressive. I mean, the kills are coming out straight away. Panda managed to find his first pick. He is injured, but it does look like they have fallen off. Personally, I think it's important to push that operator, as he has a lot of utility still left to burn. I mean, the amount of damage he can do with that gun by itself, and his launchers, which we can see him using now, they just burn so much time, and they completely cook away all possibilities of pushing in that route. Really effective, really good use of an operator. And I think the more we see competitive advance, the more we're going to see operators like Tachanka come into game, as I don't really think there's many that could compare to him other than Smoke, which is both very important operators and people you see on almost every single round of a defensive siege game.
Definitely. And of course, with Smoke getting a nerf in the next season by getting his shield removed, I think we're going to see Tachanka get played a lot more. But of course, the thing that we haven't touched on yet is the fact that Nelson, a player that went down to Panda very early on, was of course the Hibana, so that limits their hard breaching capabilities quite a bit. And as they waste 2 of their Selmas on that hatch that gets K-tricked actually by Chaos, well, that actually takes care of all of their hard breachers, as I'm not really sure where that other Selma might have been used. I think that might have actually been on the original breach inside of Dirt, so they are completely out of hard breachers and hard breaches. And I mean, we saw from Rebuild when they took out the hard breaches right away how important it is to have your hard breachers halfway through the round. And now, not even halfway through, but with only 30 seconds left to go, it's going to be pretty much impossible for Rebuild to retake this round.
Yeah,
2 players.
Definitely. I mean, you can see them now. They are making the attack, and they are seeming to level things up. I mean, I've cursed it. Now it was 3 people died as I come into it. But, well, now it's definitely going to look a lot more in the favor of GDRX.
Yeah, and there it is.
And there it is. Yeah, definitely. Really good round there from GDRX. They are winning that round. That is a good sight for them to win. They didn't win it quite as dominantly as Rebuild were winning him. I mean, both times they were on that side, I believe it was flawless, wasn't it? So important to note that, because that does show defensive strength and prowess. A little bit more. Granted, one time could be given up to luck of getting the hard breaches. Either way, that is still down to Rebuild's skill. So I think we can credit them as so far being a stronger looking side.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I mean, that's something that you expect coming into Clubhouse. You expect it to be quite defender-sided, and actually you expect that basement side to be, immediately given over to the defense. It's very similar to Oregon, which is very, very difficult to attack onto that basement. I mean, I feel like basement sites on all of Siege are pretty difficult to attack, just because of the verticality. The verticality is so huge and important in this game that if you have the advantage, that vertical advantage, by either tricking the hatches or killing the hard breacher early on, that already puts the attack on a back foot. So that's why I'm excited to see Jim get played as much as it does, because it's not that vertical of a site. I think CCTV is one of, again, a very vertical site, just because a lot of teams do like to go below into stock. And, throw up nades or even go with the buck and just, clear up the entire floor from below. But Jim, although there's quite a lot of verticality still to the way that it's designed, there's still quite a lot of wooden floor that can get destroyed. That's not really the way that a lot of teams attack it. It's very horizontal, which does leave quite a lot for the attack to do. And I wonder if Rebuild are going to have the same... not necessarily luck, but if they're going to have the same results on the gym attack as Guardians had on their first 2 attempts at attacking this site.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's been really impressive to watch so far. Really, really good games. I hope that the Guardians can bring it back. I mean, they have been a fan favorite for most of the season, especially looking at the staff. I think most staff presumed that this would be a Guardians game. But just missing a trick there from Panda. Rare. I don't think that's something we've seen from him very often, but still possible nonetheless, of course. Really good game. But yes, I think Guardians have really come out here, and they're just not showing us what we've seen so far in the competition. I think they'll pick it up, and I think we're going to see more of it in future, but it's just not quite the same as we were seeing earlier rounds.
Yeah, definitely. And I do believe that was Chaos who managed to trick one of the exothermic charges here off the wall, as well as all 3 of those EMPs from the Thatcher. So they will not really have a chance to get in through this wall either, unless they get Maika over with those grenades. But of course, that's going to be quite a lot of time wasted, especially as he is down below inside a bar trying to do some vertical damage from there. And we'll try to, I think, rotate out of there. There come the nade, but oh no, it gets swallowed up by Jaeger's ADS, and that will not catch anything. And as the time is dwindling down, no one has died yet, and they don't really have an in into sight apart from windows and doorways, which are really not ideal here for the side of Rebuild. They still haven't really cleared out the construction side either. Maiko does push in, gets the kill into Breathtaking. That's from the main stairs, but he will be getting challenged onto by Chaos, and suddenly Charlie J and Autoglass do find a couple. Chaos does find a kill onto Maiko, but Gemis is getting challenged onto as well inside of construction. Chaos having to push into Jim through that castle barricade will waste the C4. Gemis still inside of cash room, holding on to there, and there goes Hudson, taking out Chaos. It's all down to Gemis now on the opposite end of the map as the plant is going down. He hears one. Oh, he nearly got two there, but it's Charlie J with the finisher. Rebuild take the round and take the lead further up as they put themselves up 5-3, just a step away from match point. And Guardians are really looking to win rounds here. They cannot let Rebuild get away with this one.
No, wow. Rebuild completely tearing away with this. This is something that, from looking at the statistic point of view, should be a blowout on the side of Guardians. Looks like Rebuild are going to take them down in a very impressive performance. I mean, looking at the scoreboard, the player leaderboard currently, Panda is leading his team in frags with 7. Chaos is shortly behind. Sorry, tripping over my words there. Chaos is shortly behind with 5 kills, followed by Breathtaking, Damien, and Gemis. However, we're looking at Rebuild, we can really see that Mako is leading those kills. I mean, 11 kills so far, which is not even closely followed by Charlie J on his 6. Very good to see. Hodgson on the 5, Nelson and Autoglass on 2 and 3. I mean, looking at the operators currently being played, I'd expect the 11 from Mako. The 2 from Autoglass on the Ash, interesting. I didn't think that they were playing a fragging role. They're doing very well, though, nonetheless, not to take it away from them. Kills aren't everything, especially in a competitive environment, as some people like to think that they can be, but could be here for utility reasons. Ash's grenade launcher is actually very effective at taking away certain things, especially on the site of Clubhouse, where lots of drone holes are used to combat technology and denial, such as bandit charges. I mean, getting a 1 through a bandit charge, that's going to blow up 2 of them, whereas Thatcher only disables them temporarily.
Yeah, definitely. Gone are the days of Thatcher actually destroying utility, if anybody remembers that. Funnily enough, I bring that up, and I don't remember. I didn't play the game back then, but I'm sure there's somebody watching who remembers that. Probably not even all that fondly, but as we are talking about that denial, Breathtaking is playing the Kaid here inside of Garage and trying to deny any sort of hard breach coming out from those Garage double walls, and he will deny that, as Nelson did waste both of those exothermic charges as well, I believe, on those garage walls. So they will be having to resort to the exothermics, or not the exothermics, but the Selmas on this CCTV wall, and only about half of it will deploy, which means that they will not be able to walk in through it. They will be able to shoot something through that, but it's not going to be enough. I mean, we've seen Rebuild win rounds before without having the hard breacher or without having a breach opened. It just happened in the round previous, but I wonder if they're going to be able to repeat that, as of course. Yeah, there's the Ash, exactly. It's not even just about clearing utility. Sometimes it's about opening up more entry points and more lines of sight. So that's exactly what they used it for. But time is dwindling down, and they've only got about 50 seconds to go. They're pushing into sight, and there goes Hudson. Maika with the follow-up. They're pushing straight into sight. Will be trying to go for the plant as Breathtaking finally takes out Hudson. But again, it's not really looking too good, but now it might be looking a little bit better as Damien pushes out onto red stairs, takes one. Can he get the second? Yes, he can. He gets the third, and Nestle has to get off the plant as now he's all alone. He gets Damien, now it's all down to Gemmis to try and deny this attack from winning. 1v1. The plant will be going down. Nelson will try to stick it, but it's Gemmis through the rotate to take the final attacker down. Wow. What an absolutely crucial push up red stairs from Damien to take out not one, not two, but three attackers and basically win that round. Leaving it all to Gemmis to close it out. But what an absolute round. And as Observer Happy says, what a flick. Indeed, what a flick. Beautifully done.
Wow, what a round. I mean, that looked very much in Rebuild's favor when they were coming in there.
Mm-hmm.
Rebuild, Damien even totally won that for the side of GDRX. I mean, completely just shifted the tides. I mean, turning it into, I believe it was, I can't even remember what it was. I believe it was a 5 versus 2 or 5 versus 3. I think it was 5 versus 2, yeah.
I think it was 3. I think it was 3, and then they got Hudson, and then it was 4 versus 2, and then Damien pushed in.
Oh yeah, 4 versus. So even to bring it down to a 1 versus 1, just from from the lead they had.
Crazy.
That is a very impressive play. Really good gun skill, and it shows very impressive mechanics nonetheless. Something we expect to see from the side like GDRX. 1 round closer now to bring it back and to stopping them from winning it in regulation, pushing them into overtime, or even winning it themselves in regulation. But if Rebuild can continue on the path they're going, I think we're going to be seeing a very important Rebuild game here. They have been winning it, and they've been pulling it very, very close each time. I mean, looking at it, Guardians are relying on individual performances rather than team plays, whereas Rebuild have really been pulling those team plays in, and they've been working together very efficiently to counter Guardians.
Speaking of efficiency, we see them using an exothermic charge to open up that dirt wall very, very quickly, using flash grenades from the thermite as well to clear out this utility, those ADSs or my magnets, to get rid of that shield. The grenade follows up to get rid of it, and that will put Panda in a bit of a back foot as he can no longer play that position as safely as he did before. And of course, they keep their hard breachers alive this time, meaning that this Habana will be making quick work of those hatches and make sure that they have as much of this advantage as they possibly can. One thing also to note is the fact that Guardians aren't really roaming all that much. We see a lot of teams roam very, very heavily on this site, but we don't really see that coming out from Guardians all that much, and I think that that's something that Rebuild are going to become very, very aware of shortly. Which, with only 90 seconds gone of this round, is really, really good pacing for Rebuild to start doing a little bit of vertical damage with those breach charges. And as we heard one of them pop up, that is exactly what they are doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're still just being a little bit wary just in case there is a roamer. I mean, there's 4 people on site, which means I think, oh no, yeah, all 5 are on site or very close by it. Just couldn't see Chaos hidden in the corner there. I think this has given Rebuild a lot of confidence in their site-taking ability, and I think that they have been given free reign on setting things up. With 90 seconds left in the round, that gives them a lot of time to set up their attacks, prepare it how they want, and get the information they need to win it. As I say that, Charlie finds his first kill onto Panda.
That is the first kill down, and that is a very, very crucial kill as well, as that's the chunk gone, so a lot of that area denial now is gone, as well as the plant denial, and it also opens up an entry point for them from inside of dirt. Damien does find Maiko, that's the top fragger on the side of Rebuild. Damien with the swing can't quite find Autoglass, but Chaos does find him. The plant is going down from the side of Nelson. Are they aware of it? Another beautiful flick from Damien to take out Charlie J inside of dirt. The C4 will come out, but it will be a little bit too late. Damien, however, will not be late. He will be taking down the final player. Breathtaking is there to get that diffuser disabled. Guardians will equalize the score count once again at 5-5. And what another beautiful, beautiful round from Guardians to retake that and to take Rebuild all the way down into round 11, which means that we will be seeing all 12 rounds of regulation, if not overtime. Beautiful.
Definitely. Wow, what a play there. I mean, Damien is really the winning factor for his team. That's 2 3Ks in a row to close it out with him getting the final kill on both. Not the final kill on both. Someone else got hit, but I mean, just swinging the sides here either way. Damien is a really, really serious winning factor here. I mean, they did lose Panda, who was a lot of their denial and area denial, but Damien made up for it with another triple kill. I mean, 2 triple kills, 3 flawlesses. It's a really, really big game, this one, and it's really, really impressive statistically wise.
It definitely is, and I think this is a really, really good moment for Rebuild to take their time out as well. It's been a couple rounds now since they've won a round. They lost the previous 2, and it's sometimes it's not even just about oh, we're making mistakes, we have to fix them, because Rebuild aren't necessarily making mistakes. They're just getting a little bit outplayed or outsmarted by Guardians. As we saw, I mean, those were 2 rounds that got very, very close, and Rebuild just faltered a little bit. But again, it's not about necessarily fixing mistakes. It's just about slowing that momentum down. Guardians are definitely going to be very, very high on adrenaline right now, coming off of first the 3K clutch coming out from Damien in the round previous, and now the most recent, again, just a retake from the side of Guardians is definitely going to, have them swimming in positivity mentally, and it's something that Rebuild want to stop before it gets them to match point and then on the back foot. So they will be going back to the gym attack, which the last time that they attacked this, it was basically a free-for-all. It was a collapse onto the site, despite getting bandit tricked and despite getting
attackers are heading out to defeat.
I don't know what's happened to Retro there, but they did actually manage. This is when we saw the impact grenade take out the wall, and they weren't actually able to breach in. Really impressive gaming. I think watching this, we can see them. GDRX obviously going to have high hopes. They pulled it all the way back. Rebuilds aren't necessarily making mistakes. They just need to learn to adapt to the team they're playing. I think it's important for them to learn that GDRX have taken a very passive play this defense, and they're playing it a lot more closer together. They're playing a lot closer together. Maybe they've been listening to some of my casts and recent matches, where I always say just how important it is. As we can see, all of them within close proximity at the site and somewhere they could all swing round and help each other get to each other. We can see the attack actually opening up the castle barricades on these windows here, which is an interesting strategy, and I presume it's one to stop the counter onto the wall, which is something I like to see. ADS looks like it's just taken out 2 of Ash's charges. Yeah, it's managed to get both of our charges, which they have gone to waste. Hodgson lost one of his charges in a trick now as well. So really strong defense here. I mean, the Jaeger and the Bandit have clubbed together really, really well to take things out. Ash has managed to open up all the windows with her handheld breach charges nonetheless, just missing the bullets there onto Gemis as he stays hidden behind the barriers. Looking like they're going to try and take the hatch now into the office and logistical area, possibly to try and quick drop it, or they're setting themselves up for the final round. No, looks like they're just going to damage it instead, rather than try and open up the hatch in its entirety. But minute left, all players still alive on the board. Utility is burnt, there's no nades left on the side of Rebuild. However, looking at the side of Guardians, they've still got 2 C4s in pocket, as well as 2 impact grenades for anything else that needs to be taken out. Having to use his final charge on the soft wall, really not looking good for Hodgson, and I do believe that's Retro returning.
It is me returning, and I was gonna say they still have a utility in the pocket of the Ying, but of course, as the Ying whiffs that drone hole just a little bit, isn't able to flash cash securely, and it's Gemis there. With the kill onto Charlie J and Panda, of course, with the support as well. 20 seconds now left to go, and they're gonna have to flood again. This time it might not work the same way that it did before, especially when they don't have Charlie J, and now they don't have Nelson or Hudson or Maiko, and it's all down to Hudson, or to Autoglass, who does deny the flawless, but will not be able to do any more than that. Guardians take the round and make this a 6-5, maybe even a 7-5 closeout as they put themselves on match point.
There we saw Damien just do it again. I mean, 2 kills there as they tried to enter. Really important. I think Damien has been absolute highlight to watch so far. He's really picked up the kills and he's really, really helped Guardians win the team. We are going to see all 12 rounds of regulation as Retro loves. But just hoping for it, or well, not hoping for it, I hope to see a longer game. But the Guardians, I'm sure, have got their hearts in this, and I think, judging by the statistics on this site and stat predictions, I think this could possibly be Guardians' round. It's sites where they are confident on. I believe they've won one of these sites before, if they've gone to it.
They've played CCTV, and that was one of those explosive rounds. That was the round that Rebuild had it dead to rights the entire time, and then it was Damien up red stairs with the 3K and a very beautiful flick, and then it was I do believe there was Gemis with the final one in a 1-versus-1. So I wonder if Guardians are going to be able to hold on to it a little bit more securely, or if Rebuild are going to make sure that this time it does end up being their round. So it's all to play for here for Rebuild, but it is also all to play for Guardians, as this came very, very close, and they won it basically only because of Damien getting that 3Ks. I don't know that they would have been able to do much had he gone down there, especially because the diffuser was going down at the moment as well.
Yeah, I mean, my heart's really in this for Rebuild. They've had a really, really big underdog comeback story here from 12th, scraping it into the qualifiers themselves, to challenging first spot quite efficiently, actually. I mean, it's a 5-6. That's no small feat at all. Really exciting stuff, and I think it's a really, really good game. They should be proud of themselves no matter what the final score is or the final outcome. However, they have just managed to trick, Breathtake's just managed to trick both of the can openers in Charlie J's pockets, making it a lot harder for them to clear out Gemis, who is sat under those stairs and could be a complete winning factor. Really, really good tactic there, and it's working very effectively. Hopefully, we see Guardians play a stronger round this time, so they're not relying on Damien to win those last few games.
Oh no! Okay, so they did use Charlie J there, his bolts, both the smokes and the fire bolts, to force Chaos off the bandit trick, which did allow them to open up that wall. However, they did lose Charlie J to the C4 in the process. There is a silver lining there in the fact that they did get that wall open, and his death wasn't all for nothing, especially because they did waste a C4 there as well. But of course, losing a player is definitely not going to be that great for them, especially because they still have so much work to do and only about 70 seconds to do it in.
Yeah, wow, really good C4. At least as you said, at least none of his utility went to waste. I mean, they got that wall open, which is exactly what they want to do. Really good setup here from the side of GDRX again. Maybe they're hoping for everyone to do a Damien here. I mean, as we were talking about it earlier, we were saying how Panda was actually on the top of the scoreboard for the side of kills on the side of GDRX. Damien has quickly surpassed, maybe I jinxed it, and wow. Through the, the desk. Yeah.
Oh, and from the red stairs, it's Panda. Wow, that was a bit of a misinput there with the knife. At least I hope so. Panda does pick up one, and now 20 seconds to go. They're going to flood in from the construction again. Nelson picks up Panda. Damien taking a little bit of damage from that CCTV window. Will be swinging around to the red stairs again. From the red stairs, rotate. Hudson is there with the shutdown. The plant will be going down. Nelson tucked in the corner. Pretty much untouchable. There's still a player on red stairs that they're challenging onto. Breathtaking and Gemis having to try and win this one. Make it just Gemis as Hudson takes down Breathtaking. It's a 1-versus-3. Plant is down. 30 seconds for him to go. Make that 20 as he only has 7 to actually get onto that diffuser and disable it. None of these players are going to give him anything, as they have all pulled back into their respective positions, making sure to not give him anything, just barely missing there the head of Autoglass on that window, and he's just getting pre-fired every which way, and it's Autoglass with the final one. Rebuild, take the round, win the round, make sure that Guardians don't take them in regulation, and summons, we are seeing overtime again. Wow. How lucky are we?
I know. 3 flawlesses, 2 3Ks, and an overtime, starting to sound like we're on the set of what was it? Wizard of Oz, with lions, tigers, and bears. Really impressive. Rebuilds have absolutely shown us what they're made of. They've really come out here and they've shown us their absolute A game, and I hope it's something we're going to continue to see. Ideally in the Premier League, because I think if they were to go into our Alpha League, they would absolutely blow out of the water. Mako, really a very, very prominent fragger. 14 kills, absolutely outstanding. That comes close to 3 aces. And Damien, again, 11 kills, another really outstanding player. Just really good. But as we saw there, Guardians lost Damien fairly early on. I believe he was the second player to fall on the side of Guardians. And that's when things began to collapse. I mean, there were 2 of them, I think, trapped in red. Which is not somewhere you want to be. I mean, it's a great defensive position when you have the manpower and the flanks secured, but when you're trying to push out of there to deny a plant, you're almost trapped because there's so many ways that they can just watch you or pick at you. But nonetheless, good round from both sides. However, Rebuild absolutely deserved it. Really well played from them.
Definitely. And now they are having to attack onto the basement site again, as of course it is overtime, but they are not getting the much preferred defense as they head into that overtime, and they're wasting a little bit of utility as well as a little bit of that information as well, trying to clear out this shield again. We saw Panda go absolutely explosive and basically win that round for Guardians the first time that they defended this site. Can he do it again? And he picks out Maiko. That is going to hurt. Oh no, that is going to be really, really bad, and they're still trying to challenge onto him, but of course a lot of that utility that they might still throw at him will be denied by those magnets, and of course that LMG hits packs quite a punch, and they're still trying to clear out that player. They lost this site twice the times that they tried to attack it. He was the opening pick for them last time that they attacked it. It still wasn't quite enough. And now they are opening up those hatches. They are making quick work of that verticality, but there's still so much for them to do. And they still haven't cleared out this Tachanka from inside of that dirt tunnel, still throwing so much utility his way. And those Candelas, the final one of them will not blind him, but there goes Hudson, despite not being blinded. Does pick up the kill, getting very, very aggressive here on this War. Will be pulling back a little bit, realizing that, okay, I'm getting a little bit too aggressive. We don't really need to lose players here. And now we still need to win this round. Minute to go. And they are starting to set themselves up for an execute. But there's still so much work left to do. As we see Hudson and Charlie J do a little bit of teamwork to try and open up that hatch. C4 will get pre-placed onto the top of those stairs, and that could be trouble if Rebuild aren't careful.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost Mako, who is their top fragger. Damien is still alive, however, as I say, that Charlie J picks up Gemis. That's kill onto Panda there is very important. I mean, that's the denial. But as well as that, he takes a longer time to ADS, whereas the LMG can sort of just run in and spray on the Ying.
Oh, no.
Really, really big play there. I mean, it's a 1 versus 4 now, and I'll let it back to you.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say anymore. He's got 4 players to go up against, and he's not going to be able to do that. Charlie J with the shutdown. It was, I mean, something that we keep seeing that keeps being a theme coming out from Rebuild's attacks is that they collapse. You know, they are very, very good at collapsing. So far, it has worked a few times for them. It doesn't work every time, by no means, but it does work. And that is actually quite an impressive feat, because a lot of teams struggle with that. You know, it's like, oh, we lost, you know, a hard breacher early on, or we lost this and that player very early on. We can't clear that position yet. Oh no, we've only got 45 seconds left to go. We have to collapse. There's no other thing for us to do. Usually it'll be the IGL who will make the call. Okay, collapse. Just go frag out for your lives and see what you can come out with. And a lot of teams will lose the round in that. A lot of teams will just completely die out. 4 or 5 players might go down immediately, and there's nothing that you can do at that point. But Rebuild are very, very good at collapsing onto site, getting those initial frags that are very, very important, like taking out Panda there, taking out Chaos very early on, and then being able to capitalize off of that by getting that plant down, by having that cover there, and by denying the remaining players from getting that clutch. So that is a very, very impressive feat from Rebuild, and it is the reason why they are now an overtime match point, going to the most favored site so far in this matchup for both teams, and it is a site that they are undefeated on, basically on the back of Maiko and Hodgson's roam. And I wonder if Guardians are going to be able to counter it this time, or if they're just going to completely avoid it and try to go for a completely different take.
Well, undefeated undersells Rebuild's success on this site. Not only are they undefeated, they're undefeated flawlessly, I believe it is, isn't it?
It is.
Looks like he's gone for the peaky hit the first time, and it's backfired on him a little bit there. But we can see quite a deep roam from the side of Rebuild, which we don't really see with GDRX. I mean, when we were watching... or GRDX, when we were watching Guardians, they were all sitting very closely together near the sites, shallow roaming. But on the side of Rebuild, they're always around. They're always in different areas, and they're never in one place together, which can favor Guardians, but it can also be played in a different way, knowing you've been able to get a player down on the flank. And wow, 2 kills picked up almost instantaneously while I'm speaking.
Oh my goodness!
This is the worst my curse has ever been. So many deaths.
That is what 5 players went down in like about 2 seconds of you talking. Make that 6 as Charlie J with the pistol, the revolver, takes down Chaos after already taking out a couple. Before that, it's all down to Gemas, not only to win the round, but to keep his team alive. This is to keep Guardians undefeated in the qualifiers, and Charlie J will not let that happen. That is a 4K from Charlie J, TCSG, and the revolver. Rebuild not only win the round, the game, but also are the first ones to gift Guardians their first defeat so far in these qualifiers. The underdogs is an understatement. Everybody had their bets on Guardians coming into this matchup. No one thought that they would win, let alone not really dominate, but dominate in certain rounds. All of the rounds that they won was an absolute domination from Rebuild. Beautifully done, beautifully played, and a win that I simply did not expect coming up from Rebuild.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Rebuild 12th in the Overwin qualifiers out of 12 people who managed to get in. And can I say that they were drawn with almost an exact score with the team below? I mean, not hopeful circumstances. These close qualifiers have really shown people what they're made of. I mean, wow, the way people have been playing this, the way we've seen some of these teams come out. I mean, the underdogs completely coming up to the top. Absolutely outstanding. Really, really, really an impressive match. And I was very glad that I was here to witness it with you, Retro.
I second that as well. I was very glad to witness it here with you as well. I mean, so far there have been 3 overtime games on stream, and you and I have casted all 3 of them. I do believe. Yeah, I do believe. I don't think that Park and Twift or Ultra and Ahu were lucky enough to get their overtime games. So I'm very happy to have casted those with you, and I'm very happy to have witnessed this game, because wow, what a game it was. I really just did not see that coming, but Rebuild showed that they are not playing around, and they showed that they deserve to be in here despite being the 12th place team. They showed that they deserve to be here, and going up against the best team so far in these close qualifiers, they are not messing around. And it was obvious from everything that they did, from their droning, from the way that they were able to adapt to everything the Guardians were throwing at them, winning more favorable sites for Guardians, just able to collapse onto them without a problem, capitalize off of it as well. Maiko going absolutely explosive throughout that entire game. Charlie J catching up to that as well in the finishing stages of the game as well. I mean, trying to pick now an MVP of this game, I think this is the hardest decision that I've had as far as MVPs go, because my heart's saying Maiko just because of how explosive he was in that first half, but there was also Charlie J, and there was also that entire team. I feel like that entire team, I mean, Autoglass with that impact, threading the needle with that impact, I mean, so much happened that I can't pick. You pick. Tell me, what do you think?
I mean, wow. I mean, if I was looking at it, I'd have to pick Mako. I think just from the sheer, I mean, will that he had to swing these games side to side, really had a chance. I mean, if Guardians had won, I think we know exactly who we'd pick
Oh
there.
yeah,
It would be on Damien. I think we can't ignore Mako's outstanding performance. Really,
I agree.
really well played. As we said, 3 flawless rounds, 4 3Ks, 1 4K. Just outstanding.
Yeah,
Really, really
beautiful.
outstanding. I mean, looking at the scoreboard now, that puts Rebuild on the top. 3-0, 17 round difference, and a 12 draw tiebreaker.
Yeah, it's a 12 round difference, but it feels like it's 17, honestly, with how well they've played, and
Oh,
they're
yeah,
definitely
sorry.
gonna be
Bad eyes.
they're gonna be a force to be reckoned with. I think that at this point, this pretty much secures their spot in the Premier League, so we'll definitely be seeing more of them. And we might even get to see them in the playoffs. Who knows? I mean, the season is very, very long, and that's a long way away. But this is a team that I wouldn't be surprised if they managed to relegate themselves into the Champions League at the end of the season or at the beginning of the next one. Which at that point, that's a whole other, swimming a sharks game. But it's very, very impressive what they've been able to do. And as I said, to say that they were the underdogs is an understatement. I mean, they were the underdogs. Nobody expected them to keep winning games. Nobody expected them to be the ones to beat Guardians here. And
They're going to
and
call them,
absolutely,
they say,
yeah.
the below cats.
If
They were
the,
so, I mean, on Pad Blue.
the below cats, is that what you said?
Yeah, they
Wow.
were the below cats. They were not even the underdogs. They were that. I mean, they just no one knew that they were going
Yeah.
to do that. Really
No
outstanding.
one.
Absolutely impressed and blown away by
Absolutely.
Rebuild here.
And
Truly,
yeah.
truly impressive.
Truly, I could not agree with you more. But I think we're going to stop raving on about how beautifully this game turned out to be. And we're going to leave you with that. Unfortunately, there will not be any further streams. I know we're disappointed about it too, but it's just the way that it turned out for today. But don't be disappointed for too long, as we will catch you all tomorrow. So, again, make sure to keep those notifications on. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I've been Retro. You've been.
I'm some of the nerds. Pleasure as always. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye bye.
Don't care.